Hi, and welcome to another Developer Academy Tech Tips. Now, if you're like me and you're working from home and you do a lot of work on a rig that you might have spec'd up for gaming, for instance, you don't necessarily want to clog up all your environment with all these development tools. So what I tend to recommend is using a virtual machine. Now there's lots of different ways that you can do this, and I've got a couple of ways that I can show you. The first way is actually the easiest way, but probably one of the more expensive ways. Now, if you have a AWS or an Azure cloud account, you can set this up for yourself, and that's using the virtual machine that is in the cloud. Again, it can be expensive, particularly if you don't have the credits. I mean, this one that I'm going to show you is around £60 a month, but there are other options that are available to you as well. So I'll show you that first. So this is the virtual machine. So as you can see, that this particular virtual machine has got Visual Studio Code running on it. It's also running a version of Windows 11. Now, with Windows 11, I'm just testing out really at the moment, just to see how it copes. It does seem to be better and more lightweight than Windows 10 is. I haven't had any crashes or anything like that. It seems to work really well. So you can set up your development environment here, and the real benefit is that when it's in the virtual machine, you don't have to clog up your own machine with all that additional software and things. And it's something that you can start up with remote desktop, and you can shut down and you can just get on and use your PC for other purposes. So I quite like that isolation. It's also really good if you're working on something that is actually quite a lot of CPU power, because the CPU power is taken up by the cloud, so it doesn't actually have an impact on your machine's processing. So actually there's quite a few benefits to doing it this way, and you can see here that I've got my code here. I can do all the normal things. I've got a bash shell, for instance, here, so I can just do my ls and things. I can build it, I can start it and do all those kind of things with it as well. So, and if I just show you kind of the rest of it, so you can see that this here, there you go. So that's my virtual machine. I've got edge on it there, so I can pick up a new edge and do all those kind of things. So it works really well. The second thing I'd like to show you is actually VirtualBox. Now VirtualBox is from Oracle, and you can search it, and I'll leave the links in the description. Now VirtualBox is slightly different from this. It's still a virtual machine, but in this case, you can create a virtual machine on your own machine. Now, there's a couple of caveats to this. First of all, you need a processor that is capable of doing it. So I've got a 8-core processor, so I dedicate 2 of the cores while VirtualBox is running in order to run this machine. And in fact, you need to turn that on in your BIOS as well. Depending on your motherboard manufacturer, there are different ways to do it. And again, that's straightforward to look up. So here I've got a version of Debian running on my machine. So this is the interface for VirtualBox. You can see that I've set up things like RAM and the display and how much memory and things it takes up, and that takes it straight from your PC. So your PC is reduced in power, but is still isolated in that everything happens within that. So if I can show you then the actual machine. So this is the virtual machine here. You can see it's running Debian. I've got a browser. I've got my bash shell, so I can still do my ls and all that kind of thing. I can install Visual Studio Code and all those other great things on there as well. So it works just like a machine, and again, it is isolated. It's connected to the internet as well. It's actually part of my network through like a virtual network adapter, and that gives us other benefits. So we can obviously get on the web, we can do our npm updates and starts and all that kind of stuff as well. So both of those things are great. If you've got the money, the Azure/AWS virtual machine in the cloud is a great way of doing it. If you haven't, the VirtualBox will give you still isolation and enable you to kind of kick that up or pause it and do whatever you want when you need to. Otherwise, you're just using your normal machine. Hopefully that's helped you. If you've got any questions, give me a shout in the comments, and hope to speak to you soon.